This episode of WDW Today is being sponsored by TouringPlans.com. Hey, you're looking to that perfect trip to Walt Disney World. You've got everything planned. You know which parks you're going to. You've got your tickets ready. You're ready for that perfect vacation. But what you might not be ready for are the lines. Yeah, there's lots of lines at Walt Disney World. Long, big crowds go down there. You know, what happens when you go and all of a sudden the Brazilian tour group gets ahead of you? What happens then? Oh, man. End of the world? Unless you have a subscription to TouringPlans.com where you can learn all about how to have the perfect touring plan to avoid all those pitfalls and give you the tools to be able to circumnavigate any situation that comes your way. That way, you'll be able to see everything and do everything that you want to do in Walt Disney World. Check them out online at touringplans.com.
Bringing the world to your world, this is Walt Disney World Today. Here are Mike Scopa, Len Testa, Mike Newell, and your host, Matt Hochberg.
It's Monday, January 17th, 2010, and this is episode 825 of WDW Today. I'm Matt Hochberg of StudioCentral.com. Joining me on today's show is Mike Scopa, a senior feature writer and blogger for AllEars.net. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, partners.
Toy Story Mania?
Yes.
Wow, nice.
Give yourself a bail.
Also joining us on today's show is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Hi, Matt. I'm leaving for my cruise in 2 days.
Oh, God. Must you remind me?
Yes.
I mean, the listeners need the reminder, but not me.
Yes.
I'm just trying to get through this.
Send Matt an email at... Sorry.
Anyway, have fun.
Thank you.
Very jealous.
Thank you.
Very jealous. Also joining us on today's show is someone else going on a cruise without me. The manager of customer relations and group services for MEI and Mousefan Travel. Welcome to the show, Annette.
Hey, I'm not packed or anything, but going. You know,
Is that the Janine method? Not packed?
I think maybe we'll see what happens once we get there. But you know, Mike and I are going so we can find that perfect bar spot. You know, we had one on the Wonder. We've got to find that spot on the Dream.
Yeah.
Also joining us on today's show is Henry Work, a developer for TouringPlans.com and the host of the Beta Mouse podcast. Welcome to the show, Henry.
So, Matt, what are we going to do? What are we going to say that we're going to do that's going to be way cooler than going on the Disney Dream next week?
Well, knowing you and I, it's going to be implementing some new CSS to make our pages extra cool.
Woo! We're editing our websites this week. Woo!
You're going to bump up to CSS 3, baby.
It's a Twitter party.
Also joining us on today's show is AJ from the Disney Food Blog, which is at DisneyFoodBlog.com. Welcome back to the show, AJ.
Thank you. Good to be here.
And Matt, another person that's going on a cruise without you.
Thanks for reminding me.
Sorry.
Another person who can't join our Twitter website editing party.
Oh, we might just edit our websites on the boat.
That's right.
We're so gonna be, you know,
CSS
thinking
at
about
sea,
you while
baby.
we're out there.
Yeah, sure.
That is pretty cool, actually.
Well, on today's show, we're going to be actually talking about the best restaurants at Walt Disney World for first-timers. And obviously with first-timers, we want to give, a special experience, make the memories last, and perhaps plant the seeds of Disney geekdom that will hopefully bring them back again and again and again. So when we talk about best restaurants for a first-timer in Walt Disney World, Mr. Scopa, what comes to mind?
Why did I know you were going to call on me for this? For first timers, I think we need to qualify this. Are we saying first timers with or without children?
Good question. AJ?
Ooh, that was great. Putting it back right at him.
Yeah, I think both. I think we need to take everybody into consideration, knowing that adults also like Disney magic.
All right. With that in mind, let's go with the kiddies. And I'm going to say Cinderella's round table or royal table or whatever we're calling it these days. I'm saying that only because it really gives the children what they're looking forward to, and that is their first time at Walt Disney World. The castle is the big deal. Cinderella is the big deal for little boys and for little girls, and it's a real experience for them and their parents to see their faces as they, spend an arm and a leg, 2 arms and 2 legs for a meal in the castle. So
the kids don't eat, by the way. Most of the time they don't eat.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way that everything is treated up there. I think that it's quite an experience. So I think that would be my choice.
Okay. And now, what about you? What's your choice for first?
Oh wait, sorry, Matt.
Oh,
One quick pro tip about Cinderella's Royal Table: it's now accepting bookings online through the online ADR system. So it used to, for a long time, you could only call, and that would be a terrible process. Now, if you're like really looking for a Royal Table reservation, just hit the online system over and over and over again.
There you go. So that way you can.
But you have to pay. You have to pay up front, obviously. Just so, yeah.
I've never paid for a meal 6 months in advance. Just saying. For me, I think when I think, you're going your first trip to Disney, you want to see Mickey Mouse, and it's a lot. We tell our clients this a lot. Chef Mickey's, you're gonna hit the 5. You're gonna hit the characters your kids might want to stand in line to see. This way, you can eat and your kids can be entertained by the characters. So I say Chef Mickey's.
Yeah, I like Chef. I would definitely eat at Chef Mickey's personally over Cinderella's Royal Table, just because of that price. It's hard for me to no pun intended, swallow that
Waka waka.
that price point.
Yep.
AJ, what about you? What's a restaurant? What's a restaurant that you think is great for first timer to Disney?
Well, I honestly, my husband and I were having this conversation, trying to figure out, okay, what would we recommend, and my thought immediately went to Cinderella's Royal Table, because you do want to eat in the castle, you want to see what it's like inside, and it's really incredible for adults too, to see kind of what's going on inside the castle. But I also thought, people want to see Mickey, definitely want to see Mickey, and you don't want to waste your time standing in line to get Mickey's autograph someplace else. So while I first thought Chef Mickey's, also I went over to Tusker House, because Tusker House breakfast, you've got some of the Fab Five there, but you've got decent food too. So I really and it's easier to get in. So I kind of picked that as a good one to do, and also for if we do go with adults, something like California Grill, where you can watch the fireworks, is really neat. And then of course, Matt, I like the 50s primetime and the sci-fi for that Disney feel.
Good for you, AJ. Sci-fi. Good for you.
The 50s primetime was one that I was thinking of also, and I think what you want to do is you want to give those kinds of experiences you don't want to. I wouldn't recommend, for instance, like Artist Point. Nothing against Artist Point. I think that it's not. You want to give the really in your face, but the kind of experiences that really define Walt Disney World dining. And I think, and I really think that 50s primetime is that, because what I like about primetime is it works on both a children's level and an adult level. Mm-hmm. It's entertaining, I think, for both types of people. The humor there with the servers generally, treating the adults like children, and for the kids, obviously they get a kick out of that. They get a kick out of the TVs over there. The parents love the TVs over there because they get to see old things. So.
There's nothing better as a kid to see your parents get in trouble by mom, though. Really.
That's true. It's so
there
true.
really isn't. Kids love to see them get in trouble for texting at the table, or elbows on the table and stuff. So as a parent, set it up for your kids. Do some fun stuff for the kids there. Chew your gum at the table.
Put your elbows on the table. That's all right. Don't finish your veggies.
Yeah, pick through and pick the onions out or something. Kids love to see you get in trouble because you pick at them all the time at the table. That's my thoughts on that one.
That is good advice.
I also wanted to add, if you don't have kids, I think the Tune-In Lounge is a great option. Houchberg, you've recommended this many times, but if you're doing a Hollywood Studios day, you get there early for Toy Story Mania, Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster, great movie ride, whatever. And then it comes around 11:30, and you're sort of tired of counter service options. Just run into the Tune-In and have a cocktail and enjoy the 50s primetime menu.
Yeah, wonderful idea.
Yeah.
Just get there early, because it can get kind of crowded around like lunchtime.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit more about adults only. Let's say if you're going, two adults, or adults only going, no children. Basically, everyone's at least, 18 years old. What would be a restaurant, AJ, that you would think would be a good restaurant for the adults?
Well, like I said, California Grill is a good one, because you do have kind of the full experience. You get that great view. You might be able to catch those fireworks. And so, and I often have very good meal at California Grill. I've had a couple of duds, but usually it tastes pretty darn good there. So I would recommend that as a full experience. You can also kind of get that at Narcoossee's. You can see the fireworks there too. So those are two that I would recommend.
Yeah, I had a dud experience. My only experience at California Grill was not overly impressive, but I've heard very good things about it. So I'm assuming it was just a dud experience.
Yeah, it definitely happens.
What about you? What's a restaurant that you like for a first timer that you would recommend?
All the other ones have been mentioned that I really liked, but one of the ones that I also really like that never really gets much mention is Raglan Road over at Downtown Disney.
Great idea.
That's a great spot for adults. It's a good spot for the whole family, but more for adults. After 9 o'clock, they have live music. Obviously, they have a really good menu. I don't know, AJ, how you felt about it, but I've always enjoyed the food there. I thought the menu was pretty.
I think it's great. I think Chef Kevin Dunn is the master chef there, and he just comes up with the neatest things. He's got such interesting and playful and whimsical food, but it's all really, really good. So, 100%, I can encourage people to go there. They've got Irish dancing too that they showcase. Really, really fun place.
Yeah, Raglan Road seems to always get very good reviews from people, especially people who have never been there before, and they go check it out and they're like, "Wow, that place was great."
Yeah.
And I like Newell's idea of the late night after 9 o'clock. You go to the parks, you finish up in the parks there, you go over to Raglan Road and have a dinner over there, and that could really make a great evening.
Yeah, especially for a first timer, that's gonna give you a whole experience too.
One restaurant
and try the bread pudding at Raglan Road.
yes, do indeed do that.
Yeah, especially and to what you said, like it's great right after the parks, especially if the parks are closing early. I'm going on a February trip, and the parks all close at like 8.
Right.
But Downtown Disney's open much later, so you just take on the bus. The buses go super late coming back from Downtown Disney, walk around, hit Raglan Road, have bread pudding.
It's awesome.
Order bread pudding everywhere. Everywhere in Disney World that they have bread pudding, order it.
Yeah, 1900 Park Fair used to have great bread pudding. I don't know if they still do, but
do it well there.
Interesting. One restaurant that I always liked I always recommend for first timers is Jiko. I really think the quality of food there for people who maybe not into the whole Chef Mickey's thing. A lot of people go to Walt Disney World and that's all they think of. They think of, oh geez, I'm going to go down to this place and all I'm going to see are characters surrounding me with the music from It's a Small World playing incessantly on loop, right? The people who don't get it, but they have to go for one reason or another. And I love sending people to Jiko. I said, go to Jiko. You'll love it. It's absolutely the complete opposite of any of that. And I think for that reason, it really stands out as a good restaurant.
That's a great option. Great point.
Plus, if you're a first-time visitor to Disney World, like some of the best parts of Disney World, these massive, incredibly well-detailed, resorts. Right, so the Animal Kingdom Lodge is one of my favorites, and a first-timer just, if they're especially staying if they're off-site or on a value or moderate, the Animal Kingdom Lodge will blow their minds, and then they'll have a really good dinner.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. We're mentioning a lot of resort restaurants. AJ, is that coincidence, or is that more like where you were kind of going even before we recorded this episode?
Honestly, it wasn't. I was just thinking, there are so many restaurants that really can offer a whole different experience than anybody's really had before, and maybe what they're not expecting from Disney World, like you said. So, but I find that a lot of the resort restaurants are just really phenomenal too, and I don't know I don't know why that is. I haven't figured it out yet, but I'm on the case.
Speaking, I guess on that same topic, Annette, you obviously talk with a lot of guests and a lot of people who are booking through you guys, and I imagine many of them are new to Walt Disney World. Where do people tend to gravitate to?
Well, your families, they're going to the character meals. That's where they're pretty much gravitating to. That first-time visitor, a lot of times they're more thinking about eating in the park. We have to kind of help them out and let them see that, if you're in Epcot, you can walk outside. Mm-hmm. And there's some resorts there, and you can take and, do a meal there. But for the most part, they really are kind of thinking about the kids most of the time, or maybe like a couple's going down for their anniversary, you're going to find them going, where are we going to eat for our anniversary? And we've mentioned most of them, Jiko's, California Grill, Cinderella's Castle for a couple for an anniversary is pretty amazing too, because all little girls grow up and become moms and would love to be treated like a princess too. So, to have a special meal and be treated like a princess for one night with fireworks going off behind, that's pretty good too. But for the most part, those first-time guests forget that they can travel to other resorts. So we have to help them with that.
That's a good point. Actually, we were talking about the best restaurants for first-timers. Are there any restaurants you guys would recommend for a first-timer not go to?
Wow.
Because I was kind of thinking, I know some of you were mentioning Cinderella's Royal Table, but I was kind of saying avoid eating sit down in the Magic Kingdom.
It's
I'm not a big fan of it. I would rather have them eat like Annette was just saying, the resort hotel. Send them to Kona. Send them to
the Wave. Yeah,
the Wave. Send them to all these restaurants that are surrounding the area. I think are just better options, especially for first timers who may be looking for the best options out there. And I would hate to send them to be like, oh yeah, whatever, and then they end up at Tony's Town Square. And they, are like, really? That's probably what they are kind of expecting from theme park food. And that's what makes Disney World so great, is that generally speaking, a lot of the restaurants are so much better than just generic food. So that's kind of my thoughts on that.
I think one thing to bear in mind, though, is when you're your first time guest, it's your first time in the park, too. So,
yeah, it's true.
They don't want to leave because they're scared that's taken away from their park time. And they don't know if they're coming back again. It's their first time. So a lot of times it's that push and pull of, well, how long would it take us? Will we really be able to get away? Because if you haven't experienced it, it's kind of hard, even for a travel agent to tell you, oh, but it's just a 5-minute walk or a monorail ride over to the Contemporary. That's still time away from in the park.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I think actually Liberty Tree Tavern is a pretty outstanding restaurant. I love it for lunch personally. Dinner is fine. So if you need to stay in the park, LTT, way to go.
Okay, fair enough. What do you think about this topic, Scopa?
Well, I was going to mention one restaurant that I think is underappreciated and has very good value is Portobello Yacht Club downtown Disney. I think that it has, especially if you're a vegetarian, I think it's a very good assortment of appetizers and pizzas and pasta and all kinds of diversified Italian entrees. I think that's good. As far as ones that I would say stay away from, Matt, I got to go with any Asian restaurant in Epcot, number one. And number two, Marrakesh, because I think that everybody who goes into Marrakesh, I don't care. I think everybody's disappointed when you go in there. I know that I expected something different, and I didn't get what I expected. So I think those three restaurants would be at the top of my list as ones I would say don't bother because you'll be disappointed.
Interesting choices. I mean, I kind of disagree with you on Marrakesh, but obviously, to each their own. Henry, what about you? What's I know that you often get to travel with different people to Walt Disney World. What's your thoughts on maybe the best restaurants at Walt Disney World for first timers?
Well, I'll take the optimize your touring route, which means probably you don't want to have long sit down or long character breakfasts. If it's really important to your kids, definitely try to schedule a few of those in. But I would definitely either try to grab stuff off site on your first trip in if you have a rental car, or just quickly grabbing stuff in the morning at the resort. But I would actually, if you're going to do sit down, if you want to have a few good sit down, try doing it for lunch. Typically it's less crowded and it actually can go much quicker. And then try to find good options in the parks or close to the parks, right? So if you have to do, a complicated transfer, or have to take a cab to the Animal Kingdom Lodge, even though I definitely think you should if you're trying to celebrate a special event or something, that's sort of where I would go. Try to find good, quick table services for lunch, and then try to find the best counter services available in the parks that you're going to be in at night.
Along those same lines, Henry, I would also recommend, if you do want that in-park experience, for breakfast especially, get that first seating, like that 8 a.m. seating. So that way, hopefully, you'll be done before park opening.
Yeah, definitely.
First in line for Splash Mountain.
Well, and there's nothing better than walking into the park that nobody else can get into. I mean, really, everybody wants
cool
that.
experience.
We're in first experience.
Exclusivity.
Oh yeah.
What's another restaurant on your list, Newell? I'm always interested to hear what your take is on restaurants. What's one that you would recommend to someone who's never been before?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say for adults, Le Cellier.
That's an interesting choice. Also, I could see that. They can get a reservation.
Well, here's the interesting thing, and one of the reasons why I brought that up, just out of curiosity, this morning on my way into work with the mobile site, I looked to see if there were a table for four at Le Cellier for Monday, which is Martin Luther King Day, and guess what I got?
Oh, really?
What?
Yeah,
Newell,
Surf club?
Newell, I'll be there. I'll be there.
I certainly did.
I'm there.
It
I
popped
know
up.
I'm there.
It popped up, and I was like, "Oh my God, let me double check the date." And sure enough, it was for Monday. And I said, "Thank you very much." And that was That was a surprise shock.
So exciting.
Yeah.
I can hear AJ's typing right now as we speak.
Oh, I've already claimed a seat.
Oh yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there.
Goodness. Look at this. I'm only popular because of my restaurant ADRs. Wow.
We're not arguing with
When
that.
is this going on? Because now everybody's going to show up. Are you pulling a Lynn? Are we going to turn this into 25 people?
But have you ever heard of such a thing? I was totally shocked, and I'm thinking maybe it's just a fluke in the online reservation system. And I'll get there, and they'll be like, "No, we have no record of you."
I really think you should maybe print that out.
I have it. I have it printed out.
That you go to all the way to the confirmation page, and it goes, "Ha, fooled you."
No, as soon as I got to work, I printed that sucker out, and I'm bringing it with me.
All right, AJ. Before we wrap this up, what are are there any other restaurants that we left off the list?
Oh goodness. Some of the other, like I said, 50s Primetime and Sci-Fi Dine-In are two really interesting ones to check out. Like you mentioned 50s Primetime. I think Crystal Palace is another good one for folks who are going to be in the Magic Kingdom, want to see characters. If your kid loves Winnie the Pooh, that's the place to go. It's actually quite good food for a buffet. So I like that a lot. And also Beer Garden. And I know there's mixed reviews on Beer Garden, but I've never had a bad experience, and it's a lot of fun for families.
I agree. It's gotten better. It's gotten better to the point where it's actually really good now.
I totally agree. Food's great there.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of German food.
Not at all.
Yeah. I've got something just to toss out. Since we've talked about families and we've been focused more on the younger kids, seeing as I have the teenagers, I thought I'd just throw out, for first-time people going, Whispering Canyon and Primetime are awesome for teenagers. Again, there's the pick on the parents factor that's there that teenagers love.
And just the silliness, right?
And the silliness. And all of a sudden, the parents are being treated like the kids all at the same table. So, if you're going with teens and you're trying to find something really good, Whispering Canyon Cafe and Wilderness Lodge, a lot of fun. As well as Primetime, but, a little different. And if you're, eat meat, you're in heaven.
That's very true.
This may or may not be relevant to the show topic, but I wanted to ask AJ this. If she's heard something along this line. Last week, I heard some scuttlebutt that Todd English's Blue Zoo may have the best steak on the property now, and I guess it's the beef tenderloin, maybe. Yeah.
Interesting. I was just at Blue Zoo in October, and we did try the steak. It was very, very good. Chef Chris Windus is over there, and he's doing some really cool things with the menu over there. So it would not surprise me if you're going to see all kinds of interesting stuff. He changes up that menu really, really often. He actually even has a blog that he writes about all the new stuff he's doing. So I've been following Blue Zoo very closely, and I thought it was great when I dined there, and I will, I'll continue to go, definitely.
Let me ask you this, AJ, based on Scopa's question, as a follow-up, where do you think is the best steak? There's lots of great steak lovers out there. Bob Selinger, who's the unofficial guide author, loves steak. So if you're bringing someone who's never been before and loves steak, best place for steak, in your opinion?
I am a big steak eater. I love steak. So, and you could tell. So, but I really, it changes every day. Like when people ask me what's your favorite restaurant, it changes every day. Right now, I'm a big fan of that that mushroom steak at Le Cellier. I had it twice in October, and it continues to be outstanding. And I also really love the steak over at Flying Fish, which I know it's a seafood restaurant, but man, that steak's really, really good. So those two are my prime steaks right now. Interestingly, neither of them are ribeye, which is my favorite cut. But
Interesting.
Who would have figured that?
So, but those two, awesome. So I can't wait till Monday when I get to have,
I like that confidence, AJ. It's very nice.
Well, AJ, we'll have to get together on Monday and talk about the cruise.
Why don't we do that? We do that, Mike? I'll show up at your hotel room on Monday morning and follow you around.
No, we'll do it at Le Cellier, and only cruise people can go. So, Matt, you can't come.
It's okay, Matt. We have our Twitter website party coming up.
Y'all do your own special meet at Waffle House for your Twitter meet.
Here you go. You guys can have steak at Waffle House.
I was just gonna say I'll have my ramen soup while I update my website instead. Nice. Well, That'll do it for us today. I want to remind all of our listeners that this episode of WDW Today has been sponsored by touringplans.com. And in between going to all these wonderful restaurants we talked about, there are actually rides and attractions at Walt Disney World you're probably going to want to ride and experience. So you need a great touring plan. And the best place for touring plans, without a shadow of a doubt, is going to be touringplans.com. They've got touring plans for almost every conceivable situation out there. You're going there for half a day to the Animal Kingdom, be it in the morning, maybe in the afternoon. Maybe you want to go for kids-only touring plan of Hollywood Studios. You want to go for a 2-day touring plan of Epcot, senior citizen touring plans. Regardless, there's just so many. This is just the tip of the iceberg, folks. There's so many different options out there. Go check them out online at touringplans.com. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, you can visit us online at WDWtoday.com. Don't forget live coverage this week of The Disney Dream by Mr. Newell, Miss Owens, Deb Wills, and AJ will be occurring this week on the 19th and the 20th. WDWtoday.com for all the details. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, Mike Newell, the fabulous Annette Owens, Henry Work, and AJ, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio. Be sure to tune in to Mouse World Radio 1X Wednesday and Thursday, January 19th and 20th for special editions of WDW Today Live from the inaugural cruise of the Disney Dream. Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio, Annette Owens of MEI and Mouse Fan Travel, and Deb Wills of allears.net will be dropping in with live reports from the newest member of the Disney Cruise Line fleet. That's WDW Today Live from the Disney Dream, all day Wednesday and Thursday, January 19th and 20th, only on Mouse World Radio.